Welcome, spicy ladies. So, what does it truly mean to be one of the few God trusted with this kind of spirit? It means you're not here by accident. You were placed in this world to carry a different weight. Have you ever wondered why you seem to carry a weight on your shoulders that others could never bear, yet you keep walking with unshakable grace? These women are not built like the rest. They are what we call Sigma females, and their existence is far from ordinary. God did not design them to blend in with the usual patterns of life. He created them to carry a purpose that stretches far beyond comfort, approval, or applause. A Sigma female often feels like she lives between two worlds. On one side, there is society's demand to conform. On the other, there is her inner compass pointing her toward truth, even when it costs her relationships, opportunities, or peace of mind. That tension is not weakness. It is the very proof that she was made to break cycles, to restore value where the world has lost it, and to live as a reminder that integrity still matters. This kind of woman is not here to make life easier for others. She is here to sharpen, to refine, to challenge, and to inspire by simply living as she was created. Her life may not always be comfortable, but it is always meaningful. So, if you are one of these rare women, understand this. You are not here by accident. You are here because God trusted you with a role most could not carry. You are a living answer to a question the world has forgotten how to ask. Let's dive deeper and stick with me until the conclusion. Number 1. To disrupt the template of womanhood. Most of the world has a silent checklist for what a woman should be, how she should live, and what her priorities should look like. It is an invisible script handed down from generation to generation. It tells women what age to marry, when to have children, how to behave in public, and even what dreams are acceptable. The problem is that this script was not written for the unique soul of every woman. It was written for mass production, like a factory that stamps out the same design over and over. Sigma females were never meant to fit that mold. God created them to disrupt it entirely. Their lives are like a stone thrown into still water, sending ripples that disturb what others have grown used to. They are not rebellious for the sake of rebellion. Instead, they live as proof that not every woman's path should look the same. And that difference does not equal deficiency. Imagine a family gathering where everyone expects the eldest daughter to follow the traditional steps. Marry young, settle down, and focus solely on family life. A Sigma female might choose a different route, not because she rejects love or family, but because she feels called to build something first that aligns with her deeper purpose. She knows that forcing herself into a life pattern that does not fit her will only lead to silent misery. Her choices often make others uncomfortable. Friends may whisper, relatives may question, and society may judge. Yet that discomfort is exactly the point. It forces people to examine why they believe certain paths are the only right ones. It challenges the idea that worth comes from ticking off the same boxes as everyone else. Sigma females carry an invisible permission slip for every other woman who feels pressured to conform by existing authentically. They tell others it is possible to live your truth, even if it makes people uneasy. That is their divine role. To be the living reminder that womanhood is not a single template to follow, but a wide and diverse landscape where each journey is meant to look different. In a world that mass produces expectations, Sigma females are God's way of reminding us that some things are meant to be one of a kind. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Number 2. To prove beauty can be a weapon without being weaponized. There's a kind of beauty that does not shout for attention yet somehow captures it completely. It is not the result of calculated poses, heavy filters, or chasing trends. It is the kind of beauty Sigma females carry, and it is the reason God created them to prove something rare, that beauty can be powerful without being turned into a weapon. In a world where beauty is often used as currency, many are taught to leverage it to gain influence, win approval, or manipulate situations. But Sigma females operate differently. Their beauty does not feel transactional, and it is not a performance they switch on and off. It exists naturally in the way they carry themselves, the way they listen without rushing to speak, and the way they stand firm in their own energy. Think about meeting someone who does not try to impress you, yet you find yourself drawn in. You cannot pinpoint if it is their face, their voice, or their eyes. It is something deeper. That is the kind of effect a Sigma female has. Her presence lingers even after she leaves, not because she tried to leave a mark, but because authenticity has a way of staying with people. For example, imagine a workplace where others compete to outshine each other through appearance or charm. The Sigma female simply shows up, does her work with quiet excellence, and treats everyone with the same grounded respect. Without trying, she becomes the person people remember most. Even in a room full of louder personalities, her beauty disarms rather than intimidates. People find themselves opening up to her even when they had no intention to. This is because her beauty is anchored in something more than surface. It is tied to self-respect, awareness, and an unshakable sense of who she is. She does not use her beauty to trap, manipulate, or control. She does not need to. The real weapon lies in the fact that she can influence, inspire, and unsettle false pretenses without lifting a finger. God created Sigma females as living proof that true beauty is not about mastering the art of performance. It is about mastering the art of presence, and that presence, when genuine, can do more than any calculated display ever could. Number 3, to carry wisdom without the need for a crown. Some people chase titles for years, believing that a position or a label will finally give them the respect they deserve. Others work tirelessly for applause, hoping that public recognition will validate their worth. Sigma females move through life differently. God gave them a kind of wisdom that does not need a crown to be real. Their authority is not written on paper, and it is not voted into existence. It is felt. This kind of wisdom shows in the way they approach situations. When a problem arises, they do not rush to speak just to be heard. They listen, watch, and read the undercurrents of the moment. Then, when they finally speak, people stop and take in every word. Not because she demands it, but because her words carry weight that cannot be faked. Picture a community meeting where everyone is talking over each other, fighting to push their ideas through. In the middle of the noise, the Sigma female remains calm, thinking before she opens her mouth. When she finally does, her point is so clear and so on target that the entire room shifts its focus. No one announced her as the leader, but in that moment, she is the one guiding the room. Her wisdom comes from living, observing, and learning without the constant need for credit. She gathers lessons from mistakes and triumphs, from silence and from storms. People with titles may outrank her on paper, but even they find themselves turning to her for clarity. She does not have to prove she is wise. She simply embodies it. Like a lighthouse that guides ships without ever stepping onto the deck, she influences direction without physically steering the wheel. God created Sigma females as a reminder that true authority is not something people hand you. It is something you carry within you, something that does not fade when the spotlight turns away. A crown can be taken, a title can be revoked, applause can fade, but wisdom rooted in the soul remains untouchable. And that is why, without ever claiming the throne, she often becomes the quiet ruler of the space she inhabits. Number 4. To operate as spiritual sandpaper. Some people make life comfortable. They say what you want to hear, agree with you even when you are wrong, and avoid anything that might upset you. Sigma females are not built for that. God designed them to operate like spiritual sandpaper, not to wound, but to refine. Their presence naturally challenges the rough edges in others, especially the parts that cling to comfort and resist growth. Think about sandpaper for a moment. Its surface is not smooth, yet its purpose is to smooth out something else. It works by creating friction. That is exactly how a Sigma female can affect the people around her. She does not go out of her way to provoke anyone, but simply by being herself, she confronts habits, beliefs, and patterns that are holding others back. For example, imagine a friend who always avoids responsibility by blaming others. Most people in their circle might let it slide to keep the peace. The Sigma female will not. She may ask a pointed question, But what part of this was in your control? Suddenly, the conversation shifts. It is not an attack. It is a mirror. And sometimes looking in that mirror stings. This refining effect can be uncomfortable. People might push back or distance themselves, not realizing that the discomfort they feel is actually an opportunity to grow. Over time, those who remain in her life often become more self-aware, more disciplined, and more truthful with themselves. Her role is not to hand out easy answers or to sugarcoat reality. She is there to help strip away the layers that hide authenticity. Like sandpaper, the process is not always pleasant, but the end result is worth it. The wood becomes smoother. The person becomes sharper. God placed Sigma females in the world to show that real love and real influence are not about constant agreement. They are about truth. Even when truth is uncomfortable, her presence is a quiet challenge to rise higher, to face yourself honestly, and to shed what no longer serves you. And in a world full of comfort zones, that kind of refining presence is a rare and irreplaceable gift. Number 5. To live proof that strength can be silent. Some people think strength always has to be loud. They picture shouting matches, grand displays of power, or someone forcing their will on others. But Sigma females carry a different kind of strength, one that does not rely on volume or spectacle. They are living proof that real power can be completely silent yet still impossible to ignore. Silent strength is the ability to face challenges without making a public performance out of it. It is holding yourself together in moments that would break most people, not because you want to appear tough, but because you have built a solid inner core. A Sigma female does not need to slam doors or raise her voice to make a point. Her quiet presence can shift the tone of a situation more effectively than someone yelling in frustration. Imagine a heated workplace meeting where tempers flare and voices rise. Instead of jumping into the argument, she listens. She waits until the noise has worn itself out. Then she delivers one calm, precise statement that cuts through the tension and settles the matter. Without lifting a finger, without matching the chaos, she dismantles it. This is not passivity. It is strategy. Silent strength requires knowing when to act and when to let the storm pass without wasting your energy. It means refusing to let emotions drive you into decisions you will regret. And it is exactly this kind of restraint that makes others respect her, even if they do not fully understand her approach. In everyday life, people often mistake quiet strength for weakness until they see how it endures. A loud outburst may win attention in the moment, but it fades quickly. Silent strength, on the other hand, leaves a lasting impression because it is built on discipline and self-control. God created Sigma females to show the world that storms do not always announce themselves with thunder. Some storms arrive in the form of calm, and in that stillness, they have the power to end chaos without a battle. Their silence is not emptiness. It is a force that speaks volumes without saying a word, proving that strength is not always in the noise. Sometimes it is in the stillness that changes everything. Number 6, to break generational scripts. Some families pass down more than heirlooms. They pass down patterns, ways of thinking, reacting, and living that have been repeated for so long they start to feel like destiny. These patterns can be small, like the way conflict is avoided at all costs, or massive, like cycles of broken relationships, financial struggle, or silence around emotional pain. Many people go through life repeating these scripts without even questioning them. Sigma females are different. God placed them in their lineage to break the script entirely. Breaking a generational script is not glamorous. It is not a single heroic moment, but a series of quiet, difficult choices. It might mean refusing to stay in a toxic marriage just because that's how it has always been in the family. It might mean learning how to manage money when no one in the family ever did. It might mean going to therapy and having conversations that older generations avoided for decades. This decision often costs them comfort. In many cases, it can even cost them connection with people they love. Family members may accuse them of thinking they are better or say they are abandoning tradition. But the truth is, breaking a cycle is not about superiority. It is about creating a new path so future generations are not chained to the same limitations. Imagine a family where every woman sacrificed her dreams for the sake of others. The Sigma female might be the first to say, I will support my family, but I will also build my own life. At first, this creates friction. Over time, the younger ones watching her begin to see that there is another way to live. That is how change takes root. God created Sigma females to be the pivot point in their bloodline, the person who takes the weight of history and decides it stops here. They stand in the uncomfortable gap between what has always been and what could be. It is a hard position to hold, but it is sacred work. Because of them, the generations that come after will inherit something different. The freedom to write their own scripts instead of being trapped in the old ones. Number 7. To remain unbought in a world addicted to selling itself. We live in a time where almost everything seems to have a price. Opinions can be swayed, loyalty can be rented, and even values can be traded if the offer is tempting enough. Many people will stand on their principles until the right opportunity or reward makes them compromise. Sigma females do not move that way. God created them with a moral spine that refuses to bend for convenience, profit, or approval. They are living proof that not everything and not everyone is for sale. This refusal to be bought is not about arrogance. It is about knowing exactly what matters to them and protecting it at all costs. A Sigma female can walk away from a promotion if it demands she betray her ethics. She can decline friendships or romantic relationships if they require her to be less than who she is. She would rather live with less than trade her integrity for more. Imagine a workplace where the management asks her to manipulate numbers to make the company look better. Many would see it as just business and go along to keep their jobs. She will not. Even if it costs her the position, she will not carry the weight of dishonesty for the sake of comfort. This kind of stance unsettles people because it exposes how easily they themselves might be swayed. In a world where compromise is the currency of success, her refusal is a kind of rebellion, one that is not loud, but deeply unshakable. Over time, her consistency builds trust. People may not always agree with her, but they know where she stands and they know that her word is solid. That kind of reputation cannot be bought and it cannot be faked. God placed Sigma females in this world to remind us that integrity still exists even in a culture that constantly tempts us to sell it. They are proof that real strength is not just about what you can achieve, but about what you refuse to compromise no matter how shiny the offer. In a society addicted to selling itself, they remain the rare ones who are simply not for sale. Number 8. To awaken dormant courage in others. Courage is not something most people lack completely. It is something that often lies dormant, buried under fear, doubt, and the pressure to play it safe. Many go through life feeling the urge to take a risk or speak their truth, but they hold back because no one around them has done it first. Sigma females change that. They live in a way that shows others what courage looks like, not by preaching it, but by walking it. When a Sigma female chooses a path most people would avoid, she creates a living example that fear is not the end of the road. It might be starting a business with no safety net, ending a long-term relationship that has no real future, or moving to a new city where she knows no one. These are choices that make others say, I could never do that. But when they watch her, they begin to think, maybe I can. Picture a workplace where everyone keeps their head down to avoid conflict, even when something is clearly wrong. The Sigma female speaks up calmly, but firmly, knowing it might cost her opportunities. That single act can plant a seed in a quiet observer, showing them that telling the truth is not as impossible as they imagined. Her bravery does not demand that others copy her exactly. It simply removes the illusion that courage belongs only to a select few. People start to realize that the fear they feel is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that the next step matters. God created Sigma females to be living permission slips for bravery. By facing their own fears and refusing to shrink themselves for safety, they awaken a sleeping strength in the people around them. And in doing so, they create ripples of courage that spread far beyond their own lives, often inspiring change in people who never thought they had it in them. Number 9. To protect sacred spaces within humanity. Some things in life are meant to stay pure, but the world has a way of trying to twist them. Integrity becomes negotiable. Love gets reduced to convenience. Spirituality turns into performance. Most people let it happen without noticing. But Sigma females seem wired to notice every shift, every dilution. God created them to be the quiet guardians of what is sacred. Not sacred in the religious sense alone, but sacred as in the things that give life its deepest meaning. Personal integrity is one of those spaces. In a culture that rewards bending the truth for gain, the Sigma female holds the line. She will not compromise her values just to fit in or get ahead. When pressured to play along with something dishonest, she becomes the wall that cannot be pushed through. This might cost her opportunities, but it also preserves her soul. True love is another sacred space she protects. Not the fantasy sold in movies, but the real kind, the one built on loyalty, respect, and honesty. In a dating world full of games, she refuses to treat love like a disposable item. She would rather wait in solitude than settle for a connection that lacks depth. Then there is raw spirituality, which she treats as deeply personal. She does not let it become a tool for show or manipulation. Whether she prays, meditates, or simply reflects, it is real, private, and untouchable by outside influence. Imagine a friend group planning something cruel under the guise of just a joke. The Sigma female will step in not with drama, but with a firm, that's not right. Her presence alone can make others rethink their actions. God placed Sigma females in the world as protectors of the spaces that keep humanity human. They guard these places quietly without asking for recognition because they know once those spaces are corrupted, something irreplaceable is lost. And in a world that often trades meaning for convenience, that kind of guardianship is not just rare, it is essential. Number 10. To carry the type of pain that transforms instead of destroys. Some pain crushes people. It bends them until they can barely recognize themselves. But there is another kind of pain, the kind that reshapes you without breaking you. Sigma females are often trusted with this type. God gave them the ability to take experiences that could have destroyed them and turn them into something powerful, something that leaves the world better than they found it. This does not mean their lives are free from hardship. In fact, many Sigma females have faced loss, betrayal, loneliness, or deep disappointment that would be enough to harden most people. The difference is that they refuse to let pain sit in them as poison. Instead, they work through it until it becomes wisdom. Imagine someone who has been lied to by people they trusted. Many would close themselves off forever, deciding no one is worth the risk. A Sigma female might feel that same temptation, but instead of shutting down, she learns how to recognize honesty from deceit. She uses that skill not only to protect herself, but also to guide others in avoiding the same traps. Her trauma becomes insight, sharp, clear, and real. And from that insight comes impact. She can comfort a friend going through heartbreak, not with shallow words, but with the kind of understanding that only comes from living it. She can stand in front of someone who is ready to give up and say, I have been there and I know there's a way forward, and mean it. This transformation is not instant. It is a process that requires self-awareness, patience, and sometimes years of quiet work. But when the process is complete, her scars are not signs of weakness. They are proof that survival can create depth, compassion, and resilience. God created Sigma females to be living evidence that pain does not have to be the end of the story. In their hands, pain becomes a tool shaping not just who they are, but also how they impact the lives around them. They show that hardship can be a refining fire and that from the ashes of loss, something unshakable can rise. Number 11. To be the quiet test of character for others. Some people are easy to fool. A charming smile, a well-rehearsed story, or a little flattery can win them over. Sigma females are not among them. They have a way of seeing past the surface, which is why God often uses them as a quiet test of character for others. Without trying, they reveal who people really are because they cannot be swayed by masks or shallow performances. This test is subtle. She does not set traps or play games to expose someone. She simply interacts with them as herself, direct, honest, and grounded. If someone's kindness is genuine, it will remain steady around her. If it is only for show, it will fade when she does not respond the way they expect. Imagine a coworker who treats everyone politely because they want to be liked. Around most people, they keep the act up. But with the Sigma female, they sense she is not impressed by charm alone. Slowly, their real attitude slips through. Maybe impatience, arrogance, or manipulation. She sees it without needing them to admit it. On the flip side, those who are authentic often find themselves more at ease with her. They realize they do not have to overcompensate or exaggerate. She values substance over style, and that brings out the truest parts of a person. The beauty of this quiet test is that it is not about judgment. It is about clarity. The Sigma female does not waste time guessing who someone is. Their actions around her tell the story. People either respect her boundaries and meet her honesty with honesty, or they reveal the cracks in their character. God created Sigma females with this gift for a reason. They act as mirrors that reflect the real nature of the people they encounter. Some will dislike what they see in that reflection. Others will be inspired to grow. And a rare few will feel seen in the best possible way. Either way, her presence strips away pretense, leaving only the truth behind. And in a world where masks are everywhere, that is a rare and powerful thing. Number 12. To restore the value of self-approval. Most people live with an invisible scoreboard in their minds. Every compliment adds a point. Every criticism takes one away. Their sense of worth rises and falls based on how others see them. Sigma females disrupt that entire game. They move through life with a quiet but unshakable truth. Validation loses its grip when you have already decided you are enough. This is not arrogance, and it is not indifference. It is the result of doing the inner work to know their value without needing constant reminders from the outside. They appreciate genuine praise, but they do not depend on it to feel whole. And they can hear criticism without it dismantling their self-worth, because their foundation is not built on someone else's opinion. Imagine a talented artist who never shares her work because she is afraid people will not like it. Then imagine a Sigma female in the same situation. She will still create, not because she knows everyone will love her art, but because she loves it enough to make it anyway. If others appreciate it, that is a bonus. If they do not, she keeps going. This mindset is rare in a world where social media trains people to measure their worth in likes and comments. The Sigma female becomes a quiet example that you can live fully without chasing approval. She shows that the most powerful form of freedom is the ability to stand in your truth, even if no one claps for you. God created Sigma females to restore this value to the world. They are proof that life does not have to be a performance for an audience. When you already know you are enough, you stop living for applause and start living with purpose. And that shift changes everything. Not just for them, but for anyone watching who is tired of letting the world decide their worth. What does it really mean to be among the rare souls God entrusted with such a spirit? It means your presence is no coincidence. You were sent here with a purpose to bear a unique burden, to notice what most people ignore, and to step into paths others refuse to walk. There will be seasons where you feel misunderstood, where your choices make no sense to people who live for approval. But that is the proof of your purpose. You were not made to echo their lives. You were made to write your own. You are not meant to dim your light just because it unsettles those still hiding in the shadows. Your presence is a quiet reminder that strength does not have to shout to be real, and truth does not need an audience to exist. So keep standing in who you are, even when it costs you comfort. Keep protecting what is sacred, even when the world tells you it is not worth it. And keep walking forward, knowing that every time you choose your integrity over convenience, you are living the exact reason God created you. The ultimate truth is this: Sigma females are not here to be understood by everyone, but to awaken something powerful in the right ones. You are proof that a single life lived with courage can shift an entire story. And if you ever doubt that, remember God does not create by mistake. He created you on purpose. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching, and God bless.